Outlive, The Science and Art of Longevity by Peter Attia with Bill Gifford. Purchase the book, find it at your local library, borrow it from a friend, whatever, just read it. You're bound to learn something. I'm going to live longer than you because I read a book. Outlive, an opinionated, rather serious, well-researched book about our ability through focus and intention to live longer and healthier lives than we currently do. This is the author's opinion, of course, and he paints a clear picture backed with much scientific evidence and carefully worded opinions to convince anyone reading of the same. It is clear that Peter Attia, the author, feels emphatic about the subject. Having been blindsided by unforeseen medical issues and facing the possibility of an early death, seemingly at the height of his fitness, Peter experienced a renewed vigor in the practice of medicine. Only this time, he came with new ideas and a forcible personality to boot. Outlive revolves around two major themes. 1, Medicine 2.0 versus Medicine 3.0, and 2, Lifespan versus Health Span. Medicine 3.0. What is it? Rethinking medicine in the age of chronic disease. Simply put, Medicine 3.0 is the concept that the benefits of preventative medicine far outweigh the benefits of treating a disease after it has already occurred. By treating a disease sooner, i.e., identifying symptoms earlier and taking actions to prevent further development, we can eliminate or significantly deter how soon a disease occurs. Therefore, we can exercise agency in our own lives when it comes to preventing the 4 horsemen of disease: heart disease, cancer, neurodegenerative disease, and type 2 diabetes. Therefore, Medicine 3.0, the preventative approach, is more effective at accomplishing the goal of medicine. No more disease or better treatment of disease than Medicine 2.0, only treating a disease after it has developed past the point of irreversibility. So then, what is lifespan versus health span? Lifespan is how long you live. Health span is how well you live. By practicing preventative medicine and techniques, we can not only increase the time we live, we increase how well we live during the length of our life. What's the point of living longer if we feel miserable during the length of it? The goal is to stay functional longer, to carry out our lives, interact with our grandkids, and outright enjoy the lives we live, instead of just existing until we deteriorate away. I think it is important to mention that I am not a trained medical professional. I am simply an average dude with an interest in the topics presented in this book. All of what I am saying is just my own interpretation of what I read, uploaded here on YouTube to encourage you to explore these topics on your own. Outlive is a great book. Read it. Okay. The stage is set. Now, let's talk about the meats and bones of the book. How does Peter recommend increasing our longevity? By focusing on exercise, diet, and mental health. Exercise. Peter makes the claim that exercise is the single most potent longevity drug out there. Exercise in this instance is not a nebulous catch-all for be healthier, but rather exercise is a thought-out routine for long-term benefit with clear expectations and guidelines. A mix of cardio and weight training, each of which contribute to specific metrics that signify in elderly people whether or not they live longer or shorter. Did you know that grip strength is a reliable indicator of how long someone could live? Higher grip strength can help somebody arrest a fall or pick themselves up off the ground. In return, less injury and living longer. Welcome, strength training. What about VO2 max, our peak aerobic threshold? It can also be measured and reliably indicates a correlation with living longer. Welcome, cardio. Don't take my word for it. Dr. Attia offers several studies backed with data to support these conclusions. Diet. There is a significant amount of diet dialogue in this book. True to style, much of it is strongly opinionated. For Peter Attia, diet used to be his best friend for longevity. These days, Peter is not as convinced. He has tried several diets and cares deeply for dieting, but also believes there is a significant amount of misguided information about dieting circling around. In short, each person's genetic makeup is different, and each person's body will react differently to different foods. There is no single best diet out there. Each person should spend time researching and experimenting to see what works best for them. A determined, curious approach is the best approach. One rather poignant determination, however, is SAD. And by SAD, I mean the standard American diet. Dr. Attia makes a strong case for why the standard American diet, despite solving many historical problems related to scarcity, may not be as beneficial as we think. Again, I am not a dietitian, but I find this stuff fascinating. Purchase the book, find it at your local library, borrow it from a friend, whatever, just read it. You're bound to learn something. So, emotional health. The last chapter of the book, Work in Progress, The High Price of Ignoring Emotional Health, was the most interesting section for me. The tone and presentation of this chapter is different than the rest of the book. In Peter's own words, in this chapter, I am the patient, not the physician. This chapter is largely a testimonial of Dr. Attia's own struggle with anger, lack of acknowledgement of emotional health, subsequent treatment, and eventual realization of the importance of mental and emotional health. There is a distinction between emotional and mental health, one which I'll encourage you to discover by reading the book yourself. But what I will say, however, is that poor emotional health will contribute to more stress in your life, which ultimately negatively impacts longevity. After all, what's the point of living if we feel like crap for the entirety of it? This is something I personally believe, something that I am passionate about exploring on this YouTube channel, but it is also something that Peter Attia makes a strong case for in the book. In the end, just as with exercise and diet, we can exercise agency in our own emotional health. There are strategies we can implement and tools which we can equip to effectively monitor, maintain, and restore our emotional equilibrium. Despite what your own opinion may currently be about emotional health, it's pretty obvious that ignoring emotional health is one of the worst things that you can do for yourself. All right, so that's my take on Outlive, The Science and Art of Longevity by Peter Attia with Bill Gifford. I hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe if you did. I started off by saying I'm going to live longer than you because I read a book. And I will live longer because I read this book. But what I really want is for all of us to live longer, more meaningful, more fulfilling lives. As Laurie Santos, cognitive scientist and professor at Yale University, and creator of Yale's most popular class, Psychology and the Good Life, has said, we together as a socially supported community can put these habits into place. That's my dream, and I hope to have you along for the ride. Thanks, and cheers.